is a big development that brings this whole controversy right to the steps of the Supreme Court with the clock ticking. If the court doesn't act before about midnight Friday, the original order could take effect, and with a lot more restrictions on the first pill of this 2-drug medication abortion protocol.
Yes, she was talking about mifepristone there, because the battle over that abortion drug is going all the way to the top. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced this morning that the Biden administration will ask the US Supreme Court to intervene to protect the availability of the widely used medication. And this announcement comes after the US Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit last night partially stayed the Texas federal judge's ruling that would have otherwise suspended FDA approval. Here's more. The decision by the New Orleans-based Fifth Circuit US Court of Appeals to partially block a Trump-appointed judge's ruling leaves considerable uncertainty over access to the drug. Attorney General Merrick Garland said the Justice Department strongly disagrees with the decision to allow the restrictions and will seek immediate Supreme Court review. So while this appellate court decision was somewhat helpful, a little bit better at least, than that original Texas federal judge's decision, which we know was not based on science at all and was actually based on some nonsense in a blog post. Well, the Fifth Court of Appeals decision, well, it still threatens widespread availability of mifepristone, and it would require patients to make in-person visits to obtain the medication, as well as other restrictions that the FDA did not approve. And so this is what prompted DOJ to take the case all the way to the Supreme Court. And this is what could happen per Bloomberg law. So any filing would go to Justice Samuel Alito, who is assigned to handle emergency matters from the New Orleans-based Fifth Circuit. Alito, who wrote the court's 2022 decision overturning the constitutional right to abortion, probably will refer the matter to the full 9-member court, as justices typically do in divisive cases, though he also could act alone on any kind of request for an administrative stay. That's a little scary, the thought that Alito, who is the one that dismantled Roe v. Wade, even though it did get that 6-3 conservative majority last summer in taking down our abortion laws that were basically in place for nearly half a century. Well, this could be scary. Again, Alito could decide on any kind of stay decision that that DOJ requests, or he could ask the entire court to decide whether they're going to stay the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals decision. Either way, it's going to be scary if it goes all the way to the top, and we have these justices again in just another position to decide whether individuals can have full access to the health care that they need in order to determine their own destinies as it concerns abortion. Conscious.
Continual overreach. I think that unfortunately women have become, or unfortunately people who are dealing with reproductive justice being, you feel me, caught up. I feel like they're being collateral damage for individuals trying to really spark up their constituents to try to make sure people fall out for 2024. So I think that as long as we're able to see these type of measures go, we'll see that women will continue, or people, I should keep saying people, you feel me, their birth, you know what I'm saying, will continue to, I feel like, be the collateral damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that, this is something that impacts any kind of birthing person without a doubt, but this is also clearly an attack on women in particular. Like, this is why you have legislature going in this direction, because they are specifically targeting women, since they're the vast majority of birthing people, with this thought that if you can't control your destiny and your entire body and how you choose to use it, then we get to dig at your humanity. And it also means that you can't necessarily fully contribute to the workforce, and thus there's less competition when it comes to competing against men in terms of opportunity. And it's really taking us backwards. But of course, when it comes to the rights analysis or their thoughts on the decisions that are coming out and how mifepristone is being handled, well, of course, they have nothing but nonsense to offer, including this from Tim Scott, who gave us this kind of word salad.
Yes, sir.
Would you support a federal ban on abortions?
I would simply say that the fact of the matter is, when you look at the issue of abortion, one of the challenges that we continue to go to the most restrictive conversations without broadening the scope and taking a look at the fact that I'm 100% pro-life. I never walk away from that. But the truth of the matter is that when you look at the issues on abortion, I start with the very important conversation I had in a banking hearing.
A banking hearing? What? It's like, you know what? These people are really, truly special. I love how they say that they're pro-life, yet they don't give a damn when the lives of children are threatened in schools because they have to have their AKs and also, get their NRA money. Let's be real, these leaders aren't here to protect life. And Elizabeth Warren is well aware of that. On Twitter, she said this: last night, Republican judges substituted their anti-choice views for the scientific expertise of the FDA. The Justice Department's immediate appeal of this short-sighted and lawless decision to the Supreme Court is powerfully important. Medication abortion is safe and legal. Yes, and also Ellie Mistel says, basically the Fifth Circuit tried to get people less outraged by a total ban on the abortion pill by converting it to a 6-week ban on the abortion pill. And it tried to give the Supreme Court a reason to not intervene for a few years. This is all just individuals out here, once again, trying to control women's bodies and trying to dehumanize us even further, again, just so that they can maintain the systems of oppression that are already in place. And it's disgusting to see these intellectual somersaults people will get themselves in order to justify this. Conscious.
I just think of the various nations that our country has invaded based off of the narrative that what America is doing to women right now and what America is kind of doing and targeting women's or people's reproductive justice is like what we've justified being able to say, hey, we should go spread democracy and make sure the women over in the Middle East are being taken care of and blah, 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 blah. So we see that, with the same constitution that is able to gather up billions of dollars to go get a military together, go invade a country in the right for women, is able to still in here domestically able to take almost the opposite of those sentiments and be able to say, hey, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness is first guaranteed to whatever's in the womb and the potential of it before it is the actual person. And then the last thing I think of is just separation of church and state. There's no way to appeal to pro-life. There's no way to appeal to this legislation without appealing to, I feel like, old school traditional ideology in terms of Christianity that makes it where you kind of doing what you say is bad, authoritarianism. Because like we have freedom of religion, how do you push this without folding into religion and acknowledging there are a lot of Jesus, God-fearing individuals that are also pro-choice. So it's just a lot of gymnastics that I think that the right does when it comes to being able to caption off, you feel me, how we understand what's it called? Prometha? I feel like I can't even say it right. That's why I try not to say it. But
mifepristone
for abortion.
Yeah. Nope, you're absolutely right. They will get into these intellectual somersaults, gymnastics, whatever they need to in order to maintain these systems of oppression. When we all damn well know that they are going to be accessing abortions without issue in the event that they want or need one. That this is just a matter of controlling we the people and not those who are in legislature.